Veda, 21st of July. So we are in the fifth Mandala. Om Santatam Daivasanityam Dehe me Vardhatam Prati Tavasyam Dehayatrayam Yenasya Nirbhayo Jaya Sadaravinda Sadguru Padaravinda Bhumika Vajehamanata Shriyo Jayaprada Surakshita Om Anandamayi Chaitanyamayi Satyamayi Paramai. We were in this fifth mandala and 52nd Sukta, and the Rishi is Shyavashva Atreya. Ashva means horse. Shava means in English bay, dusky, which means it is a horse which can support you both in good times and bad times. This Shva, that is the Ashva is important. The idea comes in very here. Fourth mantra, 552-4. Repeat after me. Marutsuvo Dhadimahi Stomam Yajnyancha Drishnuya Vishweye Manusha Yuga Panti Martyam Rishaha. This is very interesting because he says Marutsavo Dadi Mahi. Mahi means I, we. We establish in the Maruts. Remember who are the we? Rishi and company. What do they establish? Stomam Yajnyancha. So we establish in the Maruts our stoma. This is one of the difficult points of how in the Veda there is a continuous interaction between the Devas and the human Rishis, but they are on equal levels. So it is not always that the Devas are superior and men is inferior. So here it says, in the Maruts, we establish this stoma. What is the stoma? It is mantra krite stomaihi, we say. A affirmation. Whenever we want to stress an idea, we want to affirm it. So that is the set of mantras for stoma and yajnyancha. We are in the 552-4. Therefore, stoma yajnyancha drushnuyam. Therefore, by means of their violence, the Maruts are powerful people. Vishwe Manusha Yuga Panti. Manusha Yuga, the human epochs, human ages. Panti, they protect in the whole universe by means of their violence, by means of their force. Martyam Rishaha. There are always Rishaha means there are hostile forces who harm the human beings. Therefore, Panti, they protect us also from them. So the important point is the first line, Marutsam O Dhati Mahi. Therefore, the idea is we establish our sacrifice and our soma, our yajna in the hearts. And therefore they are also, so it is that's the reason the why Sharabindo says, after reading all the secret of the Veda, Veda will still remain a secret. That is because of this complex happenings, how unless we have the first-hand experience, we can't do much about it. The next mantra is exactly the same thing. Okay. Arhanto ye Sudanavo Naro Asami Shavasaha Prayajnam Yajneyebhyo Divo Archa Marutbhyaha. So, Arhantu ye Sudanavo Naro. Asami Shavasaha. My English translation is they are the soul strengths that became adept in us for conquest. Nara, normally it is normally it is used not only for men but gods. Sri Aurobindo makes it soul strengths. So soul we always associate with the essential part of the human being. Therefore, we are speaking of the rishis. Therefore, they are the soul strength that became adept in us. That is this idea. Therefore, here is used in the way of equal to the God, but they are still so. That is the reason Sri Aurobindo carefully does so for conquest. Perfect in force of achievement. Asami Shavasaha. Asami means not equal. Shavasaha strength. The first part is important. Arhanto ye sudanaho. Arhanta means, remember the old Jaina idea, who became adept. Therefore, the idea is they, the soul strengths, naraha, arhanta, they became established. And then, of course, for and their perfect achievement, that is this idea. Sudanavo is mentioned, but a little tricky because Danava always, Dana means gift, good. But later it became to the class of people like our Narsimhas and that sort of thing, where they became demons and Rakshasas because they were people, because they were born from Danu, not from Dana. So remember, we speak of the Aditi and Diti. Another name of Diti is Danu. Therefore, they were born of the Danu. Therefore, they are Danavas. That is this idea. Of course, later they are also a gifting, but the derivation is done. Okay. Therefore, he speaks of the Sudanavo Asami Shavasaha. So, then prayer for the Brahmanas. Prayajnam yajnebhyo divo archa marudhyaha. Therefore, what do they do? Yajnebhyo marudhyaha. 9-4. The maruds are yajnebhyaha. Normally, we speak of yajnebhyaha as one who deserves the yajna. Correct translation is they are the devas of the sacrifice. What does deva means? They are the people who make the yajna happen and distribute the yajna for all the people involved. That is yajna. Yajna. It's always so. It is not as Western translators say, they say that they are worthy of yajna. That is not, there is no question of worthy because they are the people who do that. Okay. So, yajnebhyaha marudbhyaha, what do they do? Pra always means forward. Okay. Everywhere. Therefore, forward, forward to the heaven. Then, what do they do? Yajnam himself, archa. Therefore, they utter this mantras. Remember, archa comes from the ruk. Ruk always means mantras of illumination and that sort of thing. Therefore, forward through heaven, illumine with thy words for the Maruts, gods of the sacrifice. Yeah, so here again, the continuation of the old idea. There is this complex interaction between these parts of the soul of rishis who have, by their own spiritual practices, achieved, as it were, the status of the gods. That is the reason Angirasas is once a big group. So, whenever we speak of Angirasa, we are always in problem because They are simultaneously, Angira is used. Therefore, they are humans, true. But that is the epithet Veda uses for the flames, lusters of Agni. So they are simultaneous. That is not. Therefore, understanding the Veda, you can't put a hard line. Hey, this is the work of the human rishis, and this is the work of the divine sort of powers, because they are interconnected and has to be. In the Veda, everything is connected. That's the important idea. Then, so Pradeva forward Arhata is usual, Arhan, the Jain idea. Therefore, that's how they call their sages as the Arhans or something. So, that word is here itself is there.
What does that mean?
Huh?
What does that mean? What?
He who deserves.
Okay.
Arha, so adapt. So, technical word is adapt.
Okay.
Arhanti, therefore, he who is an expert in some sense, adapt. So the later meaning was Arha is one who deserves. That is a much later meaning. That's not the Vedic meaning. That is right. For here it is in a great volume, as it were. And then next sixth mantra. Again it is our Maruts. Arukmai Ayudha Naram Rushva Rushtir Asrikshata Anvenan Aha Vidyuto Maruto Janjatihi Iva Banurartha Manadivaha Arukmaihi Yudha. Yudha means battling. Rukma is gleamings. By their battle and their gleamings, what do? To Naram Rushva. The Nara Maruts Rushva go towards the knowledge. Okay? And how do they do it? Rushtihi Asrikshata. Rushti always means spear. The spear you see in the hand of our Skanda or Subramanya in our usual thing, spears. Okay? Asrikshata. So, what is the connection in their moving towards knowledge and the spears? So, there are always, like Vrutra and others who cover this knowledge. Therefore, they have to remove them. That is where the spears come. Therefore, that is the reason we speak of the violence of the words. Why violence? Because they are not, they are powers of, shall we say, other people, they don't have what we may call the other inner powers to remove this idea. Therefore, they are what we call, use the semi-physical. They are not purely physical also, and so that idea is common for them. For example, in Indra, but Indra uses what we call as the Vajra. Vajra always means, lightning. It has both sound and sight. Therefore, it is the weapon of the potent word, the sound, and the darshana, the illuminated darshana, the sight. That is the Vajra. Okay. Therefore, Yudha Dharam Anvena Aha Vidyuto Maruto Marutaha Vidyutaha. These lightnings obey the Maruts. Yena Anu Yena. Anu means to follow. Therefore, Vidya, the lightnings follow the Maruts. What is the example given? Janjati. Wow. Therefore, this is what is called as the words which indicate their meaning. Therefore, they are what we call roaring torrents of that is Janjati. Then, Bahu Artha Tmana Divaha. This is interesting. Tmana, as I told you, always it is our same as our Atman. Therefore, Atmana Divaha, in our inner heaven, Atmana, inner Atma Divaha, Bano Artha, the sun rises. Artha is the same as life. Before, what does he do? The sun arises in us. Therefore, here is, you see, now there is a different idea. Here we are speaking of the ordinary mortals. So, rishis are there, much more advanced people. They have in close contact, and therefore, by all of these battling, that is the reason it's a different mantra. Therefore, they move towards knowledge. Therefore, their golden gleamings are there. Gold always in the Veda doesn't refer to our physical color. This I told you so many times. Hiranya. That means that is the idea. So we describe Lakshmi, remember, Hiranyavarnamari. And then, therefore, the second word is Nara Rushva. Therefore, whenever Ru comes, you can safely say something connected with knowledge. For example, Rudu, truth is there. So, there are certain fundamental things when you want to look for the words. Meaning, first is look at the Ru, that's always the problem. Ruju is straightforward. It's something connected with the truth. Therefore, the fourth mantra was perfection, fifth was the perfect in force of achievement, sixth was the move towards knowledge. So, this is another interesting mantra. The title I have given is Increase Our Earth Space. So, we will repeat the mantra. Ye Vavridhanta Parthiva.
Ye Vavridhanta Parthiva.
Ya Urau.
Ya Urau.
Antariksha.
Antariksha.
Avrjane.
Avrjane.
Vanadinam.
Vanadinam.
Sadhasteva.
Sadhasteva.
Mahodivaha.
Mahodivaha.
Vavridhanta Parthiva. Very important idea. Whenever Vridha comes, all of you know, to, in some sense, increase. What do they increase? Parthiva, earth space. What does it mean? The idea is, in our mind, what we call, in the Veda, the two things are shortages, anira. Therefore, we always speak everything in terms of the shortages because we are not aware of the extent of the strength and forces of the earth. So what do the Maruts do? They may make us become aware of the earth space. And how do they do? Antariksha. Antariksha is determining. What is Antariksha? Downward is our earth. Upward is our mind, heaven. That is mental. Our Antariksha. What is Antariksha? That is the realm of the prana. How can they do? Because it is our prana idea, likes and dislikes, which create the idea of shortages. Therefore, it, as I told you, manas doesn't come into the picture. Therefore, what should they do? It should broaden this idea of the prana power. So, Uru Antariksha. Uru means wide. Therefore, it can widen the earth only by widening the prana regime, which always thinks of. Why is it? The problem always in the Veda, the central idea of Veda is we should share. And what is the reason we don't want to share? If I give what I have, what about the other people? That is this idea. For if I give something to another person, what about me? So because things are limited, if he has it, So what we call a two-person game. Veda says there is enough for everyone. That is so. First thing about Vedic idea, people say what are the Vedic ideals? Vedic ideals is sharing what you have, and you don't possess. Therefore, birds have a right, microorganisms have a right, animals have a right, human beings and plants, everybody has a access to that. That is this whole idea. Once we get out of the idea that everything is limited, see, so the idea of limitation is important to prevent waste. We are wasting everything. That is this idea. Once you stop wasting, that is the idea. You see, all things are done in the whole world, for example. It is in India, we think of, for example, using our gobar gas, this and that. How? With the idea of using things in a useful way. Which is not that is whole idea of the our idea. Therefore, nothing in this universe is useless. It may be out of place. That is this point. When we say a people is out of place, he is not there. If you remember the Second World War, so when Stalin was really in a bad attack, he released all the prisoners and made them soldiers, and they did very well. So this is the whole idea. Therefore, since we don't know how to handle things, that is idea. So in the intervening spaces, Guru Antariksha, Vrijane va nadina. Therefore, basically, Vrijane energies. Therefore, increases the energiesiness. It is not the modern idea of empowering. For all the ideas, the memory is inside, strength is inside. We have to tap it. Therefore, they increase the energies of rivers of the truth. Sadhaste mo mahodivaha. Therefore, Mahodivaha, the vast heaven is there. And what do? Sadhaste. They find the appropriate place for the energies of the vast heaven. The Vedic idea is a little important because, I always speak of this important idea in that idea of the jar which can break. The idea is for an unbaked jar, if you put the energies, then the jar breaks. So that is the example of many like Ramakrishna's life and that sort of thing. Okay. Therefore, the idea here is you have to make sure when you put the energies, you have to get it into a condition in which it can accept the energy. Therefore, it is no use simply saying empowerment if you get the energy. So, sadhaste mahodivaha. Mahodivaha from the highest heaven. So, what do we do? Sadhaste, we have a particular place for these energies to come and they help us. That's all. So here is the idea to increase our earth space. Therefore, it is not physical earth space, After all, the Western explorers, when they conquered the South America, etc., that is this idea. Because they felt their land was not enough. Therefore, they felt. That is this whole idea of how, therefore, other things start working in some sense. Therefore, in India, never felt that we never went on conquering expeditions precisely because of that. That is, there is enough place for the population to have. It's a different view of the sea. That's why, the Mahabharata, this question is asked. Does the king create the times? Kalo, or the times create the king? The king, for the West, they're all fascinated with the idea of Napoleon and that sort of thing. But Indians say that's not the idea. It is the Kala. A particular person comes to power because of the combined aspirations of all the people. Therefore, when the aspiration is absent, we get a completely incompetent ruler. But when the aspiration is high, therefore the idea is it is the Kala. Kala is not simply our clock. It is the dynamic energies of all the aspirations of the people that creates the king. That is this idea. Therefore, our Gadapati Muni, of course, he was saying, it is therefore the Kavi, for he was saying it is the poets who give the ideas, who really create this one, who do the, for example, his idea was, Arbindo's idea also, like the slogans of the liberty, equality, fraternity, they originated from Saint in the Himalayas. Therefore, which was broadcast, and it was some part of it was captured by our French revolutionaries, and of course they modified it, and there was a different story. So there is always an idea, and you tell something to a person, he will interpret it in his own way, not what you give. That's this problem, shall we say, in all of these transmission. That's the reason we always say that in Indian tradition, the slogans like technology transfer, knowledge transfer does not work. Therefore, why? It basically is that anything to work needs the connection of the local culture. And why? Because otherwise you do more harm, like our green agriculture and that sort of thing, you see. The same thing, for example, in the 1990s, the idea was there, Japan was ahead in agriculture in industry before they can have a Japanese, the idea of method managing companies, it was all right, it never worked really. Therefore, the idea is every nation can look at other people. But then they had to ask this question, how that can be, in some sense, revamped in our own lines. That is this idea. So the same idea is in the next mantra, okay? Skill to shape the luminous power. Therefore, there is a luminous power comes to us, but we must also have the skill to shape the luminous power so as to need what is beneficial to us. That is the next mantra. Shardho Maruta
Shardho Maruta
Utshamsa
Utshamsa
Satya Shavasam
Satya Shavasam
Rupvasam
Rupvasam
Utasmate
Utasmate
Shubhe Naraha
Shubhe Naraha
Praspandra
Prasmandra
Yujatatmana
Yujatatmana
Shardho Maruta Ud Shamsa. Ud always means up. Therefore, express upward. Shardha is the force. Maruts express upward the force of the Maruts. Satya Shavasam Rubhvasam. Therefore, they have the power of the truth. Satya Shavasa. Satya is truth. Shavasa is power. But more importantly, Rubhvasam. They have the skill to take this energy and use it in a way that can be beneficial to all. Rubhvasam. Then, Utasmate Shubhe Nare Paspandra Yujatatmana, Tmana themselves. Yujata. Therefore, these things, Tmana Yujata, the self-yoke or self-connected or self-power to themselves, the strengths are there. But Yuja, as I told you, yoga and all of them is. So, what is the definition of yoga? How there is an entity possessing energy and the entity which needs energy. How this A can help. That is the idea of the old idea of the yoga or the yoga. The same idea is there. But here we are dealing with self strength. Therefore, self-strength is self-yoke. We don't need an outside agency at all. Therefore, they are self-yoke. Because they have this strength, then what do they do? Line 3, Utasmate Shubhe Naraha Praspandraha. Therefore, they charge in our forward march Praspandraha towards the Shubha, towards Spandra is march. Therefore, in marching, what do they do? Forward march, they go to Shubhe Naraha. They charge in their forward march towards the bliss. Or it can also mean the human beings powered by words. Both ways are possible. Naraha. They charge in our forward march towards the bliss. That is the idea. Yeah. Therefore, it is still needed when we think of there are the people who remove the, shall we say, the outward covering of the old age for the entire person. Therefore, see, normally our psychological power thinks, we are all getting old, we are all getting old. Therefore, our powers cannot manifest. What do? They remove that outer covering. Just as the snake removes its outer, that is one of the removes. This is what is called the skill to shape. So, shaping is not a new thing, it is an active thing. And therefore, so that's the reason he used the word Rugus or the divine artisans who shape all these things. That is idea. Therefore, just as our in complex. We are fascinated. That's don't really understand how taking a person taking a little bit of food and other things. Such a complex thing is working. If that is the case, the subtle things are much more complex. Therefore, they are also within us. Therefore, the subtle structures are caused by the rules. That is the idea. Therefore, when people complain, the health problems and other things, the idea is they are unaware, their thinking is completely mechanical bondage. They think has to work for them before they go to a machine and the machine does a little thing and that's it. Therefore, if you have to go beyond the mechanical mechanical bondage. You have to think human body is not a machine. Therefore, by means of our own aspirations and other things, and it is so perfectly designed so as to last for a long time. If only you pay a little attention to that. And not only physical body, it is empowered by so many forces. That is this whole idea of this connecting ourselves. The yoga idea is connecting ourselves to the streams of energy within, which automatically maintain the operation. Our operation goes out of way because of our six enemies: Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Mats. Our prana, our energy, is somehow prone to that is yeah. Then 52, ninth mantra. Utasmate
Udasmate
Parushyana
Parushyanam
Urna
Urna
Vasata
Vasata
Shunyava
Shundyavaha
Udapavya Rathanam
Uttapavya
Adrim Vindanti Ujasa.
Adrim Vindanti Ujasa
This last line is interesting. Adrim Vindanti Ojasa. Ojasa by their inherent strength. Adrim, the material idea of what I have told just a few minutes ago, or perception of the whole world as a machine, Vindanti. They basically break open. They make us think of the alternatives. That is this idea. Vindanti Ojasa. Ojasa, you see, Sharamindo and others have a long idea, how a lot of the whole development of the Ojas and that sort of thing. Won't go into it. Essentially, essential strength, we can simply say. Then, first line, first line. Utasmate Parushyanam Urna. Therefore, this Uru is the Urna, wide flame and Parushyanam. Parusha basically streams, ponds are there. Then Vasata Shundyava. Vasata. Vasati always means God, Vasana. Then Shundyava, they purify themselves. Who themselves, in some sense, it is the Maruts. Therefore, Maruts are engaged, as you see, in all of those violent activities. Therefore, by definition, they become polluted as it were. Therefore, they purify themselves and, of course, garb themselves. Why is the garb required? Just as when we read it, now we absorb the outer things, it becomes a garb for us. Therefore, they want to remove the impression of their latest fight and everything else. Therefore, that is this idea. They purify themselves. All of this is possible only because they have the access for the wide flowing blood. Urna Urushyata. Urna. It is wide. And Parushyata. Parushyana. Purusha. Purushya is the na is there. Therefore, Puru is there, Purusha is there, and therefore it is a source of strength. Right? Then they say, Bhavya Rathanam. They come with the Bhavya Rathanam. The wheel is there, and the Pavi normally means the wheel. Rathanam, chariot. The idea is they have a chariot is there. Why do they? In the Veda, it's a common idea. Ratha means simultaneously not only physical body, symbolically carries a ratha to symbolically have all the things which he will distribute to the devotees. That is this idea of a ratha. Ratha is a movement that is side. Before it doesn't come empty handed. Let this whole idea. Therefore, Pavyarathanam, using this easily moving vehicles. Wheels means easily moving. Padribindanti, they break open the material so that you may have access to the energies of the prana prabhu. Like now, see, because prana itself is covered with our six enemies, and then because of also we don't purify it. Therefore, if you allow your prana to be little purified, then the power. See, remember, it has the source of power. Let this question again and again. Therefore, when we speak of the battle of the devas and the demons, Sharabindo and others say the battle happens in the realms of the Antariksha Prana. It doesn't happen in the heaven or the mind because it is where us will direct it, that's all. But the energy for that comes from the prana only. That is this point. See, that's the reason, when in Veda, we have two great gods, three as a matter of fact. There is this Agni is there, there is the Indra is there, there is the Soma is there. Agni, about 2000 mantras, and Indra, 2,500, Soma, about 1,500. They are the three main gods. Therefore, we speak of Aurobindo says Agni. If you have a pole, Agni is the end of the pole which gives us the force of the whole activities. That is the idea of he gives us the what we aspiration needed to push the work. Indra is the Lord of the divine mind. He is the one who gives us the knowledge. And then, to make anything happen, what is the motivation? It is the delight, that is the soul. Both these three are there. The idea of the force, Agni, the idea of the knowledge, divine knowledge, Indra, and the idea of the delight, soul. Therefore, these are more we know about them, more we know about the Veda Prabhu. People like those, they are the followers, even though they are born of Rudra, they are followers of Indra. That is, but they are subsidiary gods. They are not the main gods. Therefore, they have an individual. They are all a Gana. Gana means a group. There are so many people there. Brahmaspati as the Ganapati.
Antasatha
Anupataha
Anupataha
Yedevihi
Edevi
Mahyam Namavihi
Manyam Namavi
Yajnam
Yajnam
Vishta
Vishtara
Ohade.
Ohade.
You see, our energy and our movement are in so many directions. Apatayo, the paths that come to us. Vipadhayo, the paths that go out of us. And then Antaspata, the paths within us, which have their own dynamics. Anupataha, the paths that follow our movement. Anu is following. Okay? Antaspataha. Then what happens? Yete bihi mahyam nababihi vishtara. Vishtara is Kannada Vistara. Therefore, both by all ways, energies interact. Energies come in, energies go out, energies. Therefore, by all of these means, Nama bihi vishtara. Nama, remember in the Veda, is not an identifier. Yamani, Marutsarama, Krishna is a source of the energy. But the point always is that we are not aware of it. Our awareness works. So what do they do? By means of all of these energies, our awareness of these powers, these names, are extended. After all, the example always given is when people commit suicide and that sort of thing. Example is their idea is we don't have any help anywhere. Therefore, the fundamental Indian idea is what we can teach our children is the presence of the helpful forces which help us in all our ways. So that is it. Therefore, the more the faith in others, the more is our benefit. Our things to worry is much less. Recently, I was reading a book, for example, there is a guy called some PVR Prasad. He was the administrative manager of the Tirupati complex for 4 years. He was the one who did so many different things. Therefore, every time you see a problem arises, always with good intentions, problem starts. But sorts them out. For example, you see, they are bothered with the visitors of the president and that sort of thing. Finally, they recommend he is only so guest house for the VIPs. Therefore, they have the money, no problem. Therefore, they plan a guest house, and lo and behold, in the parliament, in the assembly, things are there. How they are diverting the money of the given by the devotees for all of these causes. Therefore, who has to answer it? These people have to answer it. They can't say, therefore the people won't accept the idea for special things. Therefore, something happens. Therefore, one of those friends that this Goenka group, he comes to this person and say, I want to offer a 5 lakhs to build a cottages for the, this is a very really ado. Hey, this guy says, don't go for it. You sort of look at our cottage you have already done. They have already spent 15 lakhs for that. Before that, finally, then by God's grace. So just at the right time, our CEO was the idea for this going car. You 5 lakhs, therefore he said, no problem, 20 lakhs is given. Over in the assembly, the minister says, no, that guest house is not done by property of the one, it is done by the RPG group of people and that sort of. So the idea is when we make decisions in good faith, but when finally difficult comes in questions are people who have faith, somehow their problems are solved. That is the point of all the ideas again and again. And the people who don't have faith, they are the people, the columnists and others, they always are in problems. So that is this fundamental idea. So this point of, how all of these energies, they are empowering us. If what do they do? Go are they come galloping to the sacrifice. Who? The Maruts and their energies. Therefore, when we do our internal or external, then automatically, so how do they come? The paths that come to us, the paths leave us, the paths going. and all that sort of thing. Therefore, let us not always put limits on that. That's the reason. So when we say, some people say all the energies are within us. It's true. Ano badra katavo yantu vishwataha. We have to welcome the energies are outside and inside. That's our perception. That is the idea. There is no into. For example, see, we think what is the limit of the body? What is the usual definition given? The limit is here. Where is this idea? End of the naka. But that's what we have said. Is it true? Our mind goes anywhere. For your vision, your mind, you are part of your system. Yes. For we have the idea because we want to differentiate. I want to accumulate. Oh, mind is not physical property. If I want to preserve gold, because I want to accumulate property, I put importance of the physical strong. That is the idea. Veda says that's the problem. No, there is no need for that. There is infinity for everybody. So you put and cause the problem. So the weaker, the one softer said, you see, when you go to one of these huge museums of rich people, of the paintings of all people, the person was there, he sees and he is very happy. Who are the people? Always it is the owner. Where will so all these paintings each cost millions of dollars. They both tomorrow somebody may come, worried about protect them. Therefore, always it is the one person who owns who will never have enjoyment. That is the idea. Enjoyment comes only when you have the idea of possession. So that is where in everywhere this idea in Veda comes, in stories it comes. That is this point here. That point idea is here. So the idea I am separate, I want to, that is the idea. Okay? These are the things which drives all of our things. Once you give up this idea, then see, you buy a new car, it will give you happiness for 2 weeks, that's it. You get a new house, you go for 4 weeks, and everybody praises it, and then nobody worries about it. Then you have to worry about cleaning and everything, it's your problem, not somebody else's problem. So that is our idea. We think it will, the possessions, we believe, we impose ourselves that gives happiness, but that's not true. So that is the whole idea. Therefore, this point is last mantra I will have and then. Adhanaro nyohate adha niyuta vohate adha paravata iti chitra rupani darshya. Straightforward. This is a Maruts only. Now they gallop as human beings because they are the thoughts. Now they gallop as the yoke steeds. What are the yoke steeds? The steeds which you are saying to us, that are yoke steeds. Now they are thoughts from the Supreme Paravata. And then Chitra Rupani Darshya, they were richly shining forms of vision. Why he wants to make all of this is, many times we think we have a divine thoughts, but they are not. Whenever we make this idea of thoughts limited to your or limited to your thing, by definition it can't be divine. So he makes a distinction. They gallop as human things, they gallop as yogi are helping the thoughts of the Supreme, another category. Before he says there are different categories are there. Don't mistake one for the other. They were richly shining forms of vision. Why? The argument is whenever you see, we always say our universe is dynamic, usual idea. Therefore, every time we see how do we see? Not only the point is made, That our Maruts, outwardly they are the storms. That is not necessarily true. Storms are there, but they are the aftermaths of the storms. For example, go to a hill. Look at the water flowing down after a big rain. Before it has stopped. That is what he calls shining forms of vision. Therefore, he gives rise to a variety of shining forms. And of course, that is the physical thing. The mental thing, thoughts are there. Therefore, there is a direct action of modes. And the later actions, consequences of that, which gives that's all. That is this one. And last two I have hope will have right of mantra. I will stop here and then this next mantra is in unseen extenders of my being. That is a very interesting mantra. Therefore, I will handle it next time. So 550 to 12. ॐ हिरण्मयेन पात्रेण
ॐ हिरण्मयेन पात्रेण
सत्यस्य पिहितं मुखम्
सत्यस्यापीतं मुखं
तत्त्वं पूषन् अपावृणो
तत्त्वं पूषन् अपावृणो
सत्यधर्माय दृष्टाये
सत्यधर्माय दृष्टये
ऋतेन ऋतमपिहितम्
हृदेन ऋतमपीतं
ध्रुवं वां
ध्रुवं वा
सूर्यस्य यत्र
सूर्यस्य यत्र
विमुचन्ति अश्वान्
विमुदन्ति अश्वान्
दशशता सहतस्तुः
दशशतासहस्रस्तुः
तदेकं
तदेकं
देवानां श्रेष्ठं
देवानां श्रेष्ठं
वपुषाम् अपश्यम्
वपुषामश्यं
भद्रं कर्णेभिः
भद्रं कर्णेभिः
शृणुयाम देवाः
शृणुयाम देवाः
भद्रं पश्येम
भद्रं पश्येम
अक्षिभिः यजत्राः
अक्षिभिः यजत्राः
स्थिरैः अङ्गैः
स्थिरैः अङ्गैः
दुष्टुवांसस्तनूभिः
दुष्टवांसस्तनूभिः
यशेम
यशेम
देवहितं यदायुः
देवहितं यदायुः
पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं
पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं
पूर्णात् पूर्णम् उदच्यते
पूर्णात् पूर्णम् उदच्यते
पूर्णस्य पूर्णम् आदाय
पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय
पूर्णम् एवावशिष्यते
पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते
ॐ सहना भवतु
ॐ सहना भवतु
सहनौ भुनक्तु
सहनौ भुनक्तु
सह वीर्यं करवावहै
सह वीर्यं करवावहै
तेजस्विनौ
तेजस्विनौ
अवधीतमस्तु
अवधीतमस्तु
मा विद्विषावहै
मा विद्विषावहै
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
ॐ द्यौः शान्तिः
ओम देव शांति
अंतरिक्षम शांति
अंतरिक्षम शांति
पृथ्वी शांति
पृथ्वी शांति
आपः शांति
आपः शांति
ओषधयः शांति
ओषधयः शांति
वनस्पतयः शांति
वनस्पतयः शांति
विश्वे देवा शांति
विश्वे देवा शांति
सर्वं शांति
सर्वं शांति
शांतिरेव शांति
शांतिरेव शांति
सा मा शांतिरेधि
सा शांतिरेधि
जयतु स भगवान्
जयतु स भगवान्
अरविन्दः
अरविन्दः
जयतु भगवतु जयतु स भगवान् पूर्ण भागो रविन्दो जयतु धवल शोभा लोकधात्री जयतु लसतु भूमा वीतयो पूर्णयो जयतु तदनुगामी भाग्यवान् भ्रातृवत्सलः। ओम शांति शांति शांति।